So hello to everyone. My name is Snežana Andrić, and I want to welcome you on the second webinar in organization of Young Ambassadors. Thank you for joining us. Last Thursday, we started with online lectures with the goal to speak about the effects that this pandemic crisis have on the creative and cultural sector. On these webinars, we will speak about challenges the sector is facing and how it will look like after pandemic. Our speakers are international experts in different fields of creative industries who are going to share their knowledge and expertise with all of us. Today's webinar will be focused on ethical digital marketing and positive impact it can have in this crisis. Before we start with the lecture, I would like to welcome to our event Mr. Adrian Pajks, Director of Austrian Cultural Forum in Belgrade. Hi Adrian, and thanks for joining us today. Since today we will have representatives of creative industries in Austria, we would like to hear what is Austrian Cultural Forum doing these days and what are your plans for supporting creative and cultural sector in Serbia in this time.
Yes, hello. Hello Snežana, thank you very much. Can you hear me like this? Is it fine?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Thanks first of all for organizing this. Greetings to Niš and everywhere in Serbia where people are listening. I think it's a great idea, it's a great opportunity to take this time, this forced pause that many people have to think about the ways things will change. And I think many things will change and many things also will not change. And it might be interesting to reflect on these two things because they are very bold conjectures now at the moment. For us, the Austrian Cultural Forum, we've transitioned at the moment to a fully online program. So this means that we have content on Instagram and Facebook every day, a lot of content, and we open new channels, YouTube, SoundCloud, and our own homepage again as well. And one of the highlights was to have first online film screenings, and we saw that it's a big success, and this might also be interesting for the future. Another thing I want to mention briefly is that we have started a call for our Serbian partners in this difficult situation for new ideas that relate to culture, Austria, or science in Austria, creative industries, anything that can be implemented digitally. So we're really looking for new ideas coming from local actors, coming from Serbia. And we know it's a difficult time also now, and we try to support the local actors. So you can find this call on our homepage if you're interested. And I also just wanted to mention that since I'm working also in connection to the embassy is extremely busy supporting consular cases, but also together with the EU effort supporting Serbia in fighting this pandemic, and the EU continues to be the prime donator in this respect. So I won't be too long. I think that's enough from my side. I think the talk will be extremely interesting. It will also be interesting for myself, for my team, because we're also looking at marketing now, at good ways to do this, to promote our activities, and we'll be watching it very attentively ourselves. So thank you very much again, and enjoy.
Thank you very much, Adrian, and good luck with your call. So as you all know, our speaker today is Christina Forster. She's the co-founder of the Heartbeat Innovation and Communication in Vienna. And we have met Christina last November when she was participating in KreN conference in Niš, thanks to the support of Austrian Cultural Forum. And besides her main work, she's also an expert for digital marketing in the Impact Hub Vienna, and her main fields of expertise are communication, content, and marketing. So Christina, thank you very much for answering to our call, and we are looking forward to hear your story, to hear your view on the importance of digital marketing and communication in this time. And for all of you who are participating, one technical detail, all of you are going to be muted in order to avoid the background sound. And all the questions you have for Christina, you can write in chat, and after she finishes the presentation, we will read all the questions to her. So Christina, please, you can start with your presentation, and we are really looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Of course, quickly to check, can everyone hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yes, yes,
okay,
we can
great.
hear you.
Good. So I will share my screen now, the big moment of technical challenge. Just give me a second, please, so I can share the screen. Yeah, I tried to share it with the full screen, didn't work, of course, so we will do it this way. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes, we can
Great.
see.
So, okay, here we are. Thank you very much to the team of KreNI and also the other co-organizers for inviting me. I'm very happy that I have a chance to speak to all of you. I will, as Snezhana said, the title is Digital Marketing as a Force of Good. So how can we use digital marketing nowadays in this crisis? So what will we talk about? I mean, I will basically, I think I will skip the introduction as I was introduced very nicely already. I want to talk very, very briefly about what to do in a crisis, and we'll put a bigger focus on the world after the crisis and what we actually can do then, because hopefully we kind of moving out of this crisis very soon. In that sense, I will look at it where to start, and then I will introduce to you three digital marketing tools that can be used and should be used as a force for good. Then we look very shortly at implementation, and last but not least, I will share a couple of examples, successful examples now during the crisis from Austria and also beyond. So that's the plan for the next about 30 minutes. As I said, I will skip that. You see it on the screen, that's me. Maybe just a couple of things as well. My background is actually journalism, so I have a very high focus on the storytelling, on the creative part of digital marketing. So I've been working as a journalist and later on focused on content marketing, digital marketing, and already have quite some time, quite some experience. I've been around for quite a while in Austria, of course, but I also lived in London for 8 years. And actually last year, I lived for a whole year in Belgrade, where I worked, and where I also joined the conference last year. At the moment, I'm in Ljubljana, but we're still based in Vienna in Austria with the agency hub, it's Innovation and Communication. Good, so not too much about me, there's more important things to talk about. As I said, I wanna look very shortly at the current situation, because it's very important to understand or to be clear about what to do in the times of this crisis. So there's two things, yeah? One thing is we have to get through the crisis, yeah, as best as we can. And the other thing is we have to get ready for what comes after the crisis, so the world after, and use content marketing or digital marketing as a force for good. So I want to divide these two things because it's very important to actually see them separate. So it's one thing to actually get through a crisis, because to be honest, the best thing you can do is to actually hold on to what you have, to your brand, react and so on, but it's not the time to think big. If a crisis comes to an end, which we hopefully see that very soon, it's definitely time to get ready for the world after and start planning, yeah? But having said that, at the moment, we have to say that we are still in the crisis. So I want to spend a couple of minutes on that as well, and want to share with you three important things to keep in mind, how to do digital marketing during a crisis. So number one is keep in mind how your target group feels at the moment, yeah? The public in general is deeply worried. Yes, we kind of see a light at the end of the tunnel, but people talking about a second wave of COVID-19 and so on. So there is for sure a deep worry out there. And people are also concerned about spending money because many of us have suffered during the crisis, financially, economically, hopefully not health-wise, but we all have kind of suffered. We all were kind of hit by the crisis. So we are definitely concerned also about spending money. So keep that in mind, whatever you do. In the crisis, I recommend to think ahead in a time frame of 2 to 4 weeks, but not longer. Yeah, we can start planning longer, mid and long term, again, when the crisis is really over. But during the crisis, you should keep it in a very short time frame. What can you do? You can review a business model and adapt it by looking at number one, keeping in mind how your target group feels. So really look at it. Am I needed now? Does my model work? And if not, look if you can adapt in a short term. Yeah. In terms of content, digital marketing, if you have a content plan in place or if you have some kind of plan, look at it and adapt as well. Really, whatever you were thinking about doing online, look at it and say, does this make sense now? Or do I have to adapt it slightly? Or should I maybe also just cut it off? Yeah, the most important thing is to not get in the face of your target audience with the wrong message. And number three, only work with what you have at this point. Yeah, these tips are pretty logical. Number three is going a little bit more into the business world. During a crisis, businesses are definitely expected to do their part. Yeah, so don't, if you have a brand or you're planning actually to have a company, it's not the time to be quiet. As a business, you have to make a stand and you cannot ignore the crisis. So don't be silent. Be as transparent and honest as possible. I mean, I would recommend you to do that anyway all the time, but it's very important in crisis. We cannot be lied to. Yeah, there's enough fake news out there. And you have to show solidarity and cooperate. So crisis is a lot when it comes to business and also digital marketing. It's a lot about collaboration, cooperation, and solidarity. I will come back to that a couple of more times. So try to show solidarity, post about tips, yeah, what you can do in the crisis for your local community, for example. And even if you can, cooperate or do something on volunteer basis with an NGO helping or other initiatives that support in some way during this crisis. And last but not least, move processes online if possible. Yeah, so these are the three things during a crisis, yeah, where you really act and react rather than plan. And it is really recommended that in case of emergency, in case of an active crisis, that you just get through it. So we also said when we see the light at the end of the tunnel, which at the moment seems to be the case, which is very good, we can actually start to think ahead. So now I'm coming to the bigger topic, how to use digital marketing as a force for good. For that, we should look first, what do we know at this point? Yeah, it's not a lot, but there's quite a few things we do know. Number one, at this point, there is 2 winners of this crisis. Yeah, there might be even more, but at this point, we know for sure technology, yeah, industry is a winner because even if we can go back to the normal as we knew it, for sure things will stay and we will be much more online as we used to, and probably we are online enough anyway. And we also might travel less because it will not be possible right away again. And that's the second big winner of this crisis, and that's planet Earth. And actually that's a good thing. Yeah, so planet Earth gets a chance to recover. These are the 2 winners, and we know this at this point. What do we know as well? We know that people most likely, studies say, will only shop basics, yeah, when we recover. Why? Well, we already talked about it. We might be scared to spend money how we were used to spend money, because a crisis hit us, for most of us, the first time in our lives, at least this kind of a health crisis, and it will hopefully not leave a trauma, but it will leave something. So we will change our behavior, most likely how we shop. And of course, we are also scared that there might be other waves. Yeah, I mean, I hear a lot that the next wave might come in autumn, winter. I really hope not. But even with that, we have that in back of our mind. We hear a lot of the news, and we will be careful in how we spend money and how much. Good. What we know as well is that there will be some kind of a new normal or a new world. How different this is, we don't know. It's really difficult to say at this point how it will look like, how things will develop, if they find a drug for COVID-19 fast, if it will be accessible for everyone. So it's really, really difficult to say how our future looks like at the moment. And what we know is that we have to wait for quite a while until we will find out or until we know for certain. What will also be in this new normal and new world is a new awareness of community, freedom, and planet Earth. So because we were taken of our freedom to go out whenever we want. We were taken of our freedom to shop whenever we want. We were taken of our freedom to go to a shop whenever we want, to events, to concerts, and so on. So for sure, there will be a new awareness and a higher awareness of freedom, planet Earth, I mentioned that, and also of community, because we will actually appreciate a lot when we can move and be in communities again as we used it. And last but not least, finally, I come to content marketing, digital marketing. Yes, it can really set the right tone for your future success, and it should. Yeah. Why? People need something to look forward. So it is the time to start talking now. We are online. You can find us there. So, and we need things we are looking forward to. We have time to discover these new things because we are, most of us or all of us probably are stuck at home for weeks now. And we need communities on all levels, business and social. So communities, I can tell you for sure, is for sure one of the big trends also in digital marketing, to build up communities, to act like a community and so on. So this is what we know at this point. Next step is, so how should we get started? In what way should we go? So what do we need to use digital marketing now as a force for good? So from my point of view, it's three things. One is responsible storytelling, a new way or a trend. Actually, I introduced at the conference already last year, but actually now it became more important than ever. It will be a must. Human-centered content. I will explain that in more detail. And number three, impact communication. These are the three things I want to introduce to you in the next 15 minutes, a little bit more in detail, because they are tools that can be used to use digital marketing as a force for good. Last but not least, I cannot forget, as we all are more online than ever, it's very, very important. I really can't stretch that enough, that when you have ideas or when you use one of those tools, you need a structure and well-planned implementation with a content plan. We need consistency. It's more important than ever. So it's really important. Good. As I said, I want to talk you through these three tools. I start with responsible storytelling. So responsible storytelling is actually content that tackles social issues, environmental issues, or community issues. Yeah. So you see a star there. It's a model I'm using a lot in my work because I feel it's really tackling the issue at the right point. It's called Responsible Business Framework by an American consultant called Carol Sanford. And basically, very short, is she says it's not only about the customers anymore in the future. You see customer number one, stays number one, of course, but it's also about co-creators, planet Earth, community, and investors or partners. Yeah. So you will need to talk about those much, much more than it was in the past. In the past, it was always about customers. In the future, that will change. It will be very important to talk about those other groups as well. And when you do that, you actually do responsible storytelling because you focus on some kind of social or environmental issue out there. If that's a bit confusing, I apologize. To make it a little bit more simple, you probably heard about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So if you would share content that reflects any kind or plays into any kind of those SDGs, you also do responsible storytelling. Yeah. Responsible storytelling, as I said, is nothing new. The big companies do it all already, because also our generation and customers and we are all more, how to say, we are more critical when it comes to shopping. Yeah, we don't want to shop only the lifestyle Hollywood dream factory anymore. We want to make sure that wherever we shop, it's important that this business is responsible and takes care of the surrounding. Yeah, so I share you some big examples for responsible storytelling. Number one, you see here a picture from Coca-Cola with closed minds can't open eyes. So they go very much into well-being and open-minded. And then you see, hopefully you can see the can. The can has love on it, but love can. So instead of Coca-Cola dancing girls and so on, what they did in the past, they really focus now on open minds. They also supported a lot of LGBT movements and so on. So they make a stand that they stand for open minds, and this is responsible storytelling. Another example is Heineken. You see here, it says now you can for the non-alcoholic beer. So actually Heineken went from being the main sponsors of all football matches, UEFA Cup and so on, to really care about the health, because alcohol if you drink more, obviously is not health. So one of the SDGs is also well-being, and Heineken actually invested the highest budget of all time in a non-alcoholic campaign in the UK. So they really also changed their focus from going lifestyle football, we are cool, watch football with a beer, into health. Yeah, there's a video, I will share a link with you as well, where you see Heineken Edward as well. So they're doing a really good job actually in that. Responsible storytelling. Number 3, fashion. There's a huge problem with waste in fashion. It's a lot about recycling and so on. So for example, H&M has a campaign, Conscious, you probably have heard of it. Don't let fashion go to waste. That is also responsible storytelling, that they care that the fashion is not thrown away, but will be recycled. Another example, I'm coming to an end already, is from the, I think, Finnish airline SAS. And they have here Euro bonus members are one sustainable step ahead, travelers for the future. So airlines obviously struggle a lot with CO2 emission, harming the planet Earth, not at the moment, but before the crisis. And you see here, even in the advert, they have the word sustainable in it. And that's also responsible storytelling. And last but not least, I want to show you Ryanair, good old Ryanair. They had Europe's lowest fares and lowest emissions airline. Well, I can tell you this was banned immediately. I will tell you later why. They made some very big mistakes in impact communication. But even Ryanair, a low-fare airline like Ryanair, tried to do responsible storytelling, although they failed in that sense. As I said, I've added here on the right a couple of links. If you want to have the presentation, I'm very happy to share it, and you have links for other very good examples for responsible storytelling. So this is number 1. So not talking about lifestyle anymore, not talking about richness, luxury, but caring about global issues out there is responsible storytelling, and more important than ever. Yeah. Good. Number 2 is the human-centered content. So what do I mean by that? As you know, unfortunately, we don't have that much time, but as you might know, it's very important to always look at your target group. So when you do digital marketing, it's very important to understand who do you want to talk to, because in the online world, you cannot talk to everyone. You need to, there's too much out there, so you need to decide who do you talk to. And in marketing terms, this is called, your ideal customer is called target persona. Yeah, so that's also becoming a trend to put the human side of your target group in the middle of your content creation. You see here in the middle just a couple of graphics, the combination of a target persona and the human-centered design principle. I explain now a little bit more in detail. So your target personas must always be in the center of your content planning. Yeah, how does that work? You should create a target persona profile for each of your target personas. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to go into that, but if you Google target persona profile and you add your industry, yeah, I don't know, for example, tech or mobile phone user, you find very good examples. Important is the message that the target persona just describes your ideal customer, as I said, and by understanding your ideal customer, what do they need from you, etc., you understand what information and what content they need from you. So I would recommend you to really try to understand who do I talk to, who do I want to reach out, and really try to set up a target persona profile. And then when you have that, you should create content based on what you learn from this profile, as I just said. I can tell you the way I work with clients, the target persona profiles give us the best content possible. Yeah. So what kind of questions are, just to give you a little bit more insight in this, the most important one, when you talk about, or when you create the target persona profile, number one, what does the target persona or the target group really need from my product and service? So I would recommend you to really just sit down and write it down. What do they need? Yeah. What are their pain points and frustrations? So when they are looking for something you can offer, yeah, you can sell to them. Why would they hesitate to not buy it? What are they scared of? Is it the price? Is it maybe the size? Maybe they have super sized feet or whatever. Yeah, so really try based on the profile to understand why could they hesitate or have doubts to buy that. And also on the other side, what are their motivations? Yeah, why would it make them really, really happy to buy what you can offer? And if you answer these questions, you will have very good content to reach out to them, which is based on human-centered design, which is basically putting the human in the middle of the solution. Last but not least, how do you create the content then? I want to give you a very quick tip. If you have done all of that, yeah, you have answered the questions, you have done a target persona profile, it can be a short one, you know, it doesn't need to be the most professional target persona profile right away. It can be really a simple one as well. You have some messages there, yeah, you understand why they really want to buy your product or how it would make them feel, why would they be happy, why would they be excited, but you also understand why would they be frustrated, or what are they scared of? Money, is it worth it, quality, whatever it is. So from these learnings, yeah, if you have written them down, take one learning each by each, yeah, one by one, and think of different ways how to tell or how to bring that message across. So for example, if the price is the problem, write down 5 ideas how you can actually make them understand that the price is worth it, yeah, or that they don't need to worry about the price. So idea number 1 could be that you give a discount, very simple, doesn't need to be very creative. Idea number 2 could be that you list in 3 points about the quality. Idea number 3 could be that you share some reviews from other customers. They all play into that one message your target persona is worried about, and you take this worry away from them. Yeah, so I would really recommend you to take the learnings one by one and separately think of ways to tell them. And that's human-centered content you design, and you can make sure that with that you actually meet or match the need of your target group. So bring the message across, sorry. That was the human-centered content, and the last tool I want to introduce to you is the impact communication. Impact communication, I have to be honest, is the most complex one. It's pretty new, and it can be quite complicated, but as an introduction, a short definition. So impact communication is a part of responsible communication and refers to the detailed communication of the impact created by you or a client. Yeah, so examples is, for example, how much CO2 emission is saved. For example, carpooling services who gather people in one car, they communicate on website how much CO2 emission they save. Airlines have to communicate how much CO2 emission they saved. Ryanair did not do that, as we saw before. But also, for example, if you do a conference and you do everything online and digital, how much paper do you save? Yeah, restaurants in Austria, at least before the lockdown, they give out often tablets now as a menu. Yeah, and they save paper with it, and ideally they measure that because that's what they contribute to a bigger goal. But also, for example, if you have a conference and you don't give out plastic bottles, you can measure how much plastic you save, how much waste you saved. For example, at the KreNI conference last year, I know all the decoration was naturally based, which was very nice. So a lot of waste was saved. And if you measure that, you can communicate it. It's your impact, your contribution, and you can communicate it. So that's impact communication. As I said, in the bigger world, it's quite a serious and complex one. And it's based on 3 pillars. And these 3 pillars I want to introduce now very shortly. Step number 1, you have to understand your impact, and that's actually much more difficult or complex as one might think. It shouldn't be just that you say, yeah, I do this, I save waste, and that's your understanding of impact. It has to be more detailed. Unfortunately, I only can touch the surface today, but understanding your impact should be either done in a mission, yeah, on your website. If you have a mission that you really define your impact there very carefully. It could be a pitch to an investment. There's also most of the time the impact very clearly defined in case you have done that ever before. Or you use a framework or models. There are many out there. One of the most simple ones and very effective ones is theory of change. Again, in the presentation, you will have the link. Yeah, I will not have the time to go into it now, unfortunately, but the presentation is linked and you can have a look. So first of all, very important, understand your impact and don't be easy on yourself. Yeah, this is a very important step to understand what is really your impact. Number 2, before you communicate, you have to measure the impact. Yeah, don't do it with like Ryanair. Yeah, we have the lowest CO2 emission. Wrong. You have to measure it. Impact communication is a very serious business and cannot be based on any guesses or something like that. So there are recognized measurement tools out there for impact. That's a workshop on its own, unfortunately, but you should use some acknowledged impact measurement tool, for example, a reliable measurement tool for CO2 emission. Yeah, so when you understand your impact, you have to really understand what is a reliable and serious and also accepted way to measure it. And when you have defined your measurement of the impact, then it goes into communicating. Yeah, so you communicate it based on reliable sources. Always try to use facts and figures as well, and combine it with the responsible storytelling I've already mentioned to you. Yeah, so I hope I could give you here a good idea of what these 3 tools are. Of course, I could talk about it forever, but I hope you understand what these 3 tools are about and why they can be a force for the good. I said also in the beginning, it's absolutely key, the implementation. Yeah, it would be an absolute shame if you brainstorm human-centered content, responsible storytelling ideas, impact communication maybe, and have it not well implemented. Why am I so picky or pushy about the implementation? Because we need consistency. As I mentioned in the beginning, we are online, there's so much online, yeah? We have a fish memory of 3 seconds. If you don't get the attention in the first 3 seconds of someone, we just scroll on, we move on, yeah? That's why it's very important to have a structure, because you need to create a journey for your audience. So I would really recommend you, even if it's only a rough content plan, not very detailed, I would really recommend you to do a content plan in a Google Sheet. You see here an old example of mine. It's very easy. I just add the channels, what are we using, and then you see the date as well. So it's pretty straightforward, no software, no nothing. Google Sheet is absolutely fine. And then think about it. Can you do it by month, per week, or daily? Daily is probably a lot. But really try to think, okay, when should I put which content? Yeah, look at the ideas, don't post them randomly, mix them nicely, and put the structure on that. And the content plan will also be your calendar, and it will also show you on what journey you take your audience. Also be aware that it never happens as planned. That's the way it is, and it's okay that way. And it's digital marketing. You always have to observe, analyze, and adapt more than ever. Yeah, but even if I can't go so much into detail now how to do a content plan, really take this serious. Implementation will be more important, and structure will be more important than ever. Good. That's the 3 tools I wanted to introduce you. Last but not least, I want to show you a couple of examples that were inspired by the COVID-19 crisis in digital marketing or online marketing, so to say. Most of them are from my home country, from Austria. Austria does a lot at the moment. I mean, obviously the crisis, the creative industry is hit badly, like in any other country as well. But Austria is great in the way it is. There's a lot of immediate support you can apply to. But at the end of the day, we all struggle to find our way through the crisis before we can continue. Anyway, a couple of examples I want to share with you. A bit of a classic one. This is from the creative industry. It's a editorial company. They are actually quite successful, and now they've lost all their clients. You know, you can't go out shooting anymore. And basically what they do, they did a content creation school, an online course. I mean, you have to pay for it, and not that little. It's $120, I think. But they say, and they go very much to the human-centered content here. They say, learn how to shoot and edit videos on your smartphone. Start with the equipment you already own. So it's very clever. It's a very logical thing to do, but it's a very clever thing. They go very closely to the target persona and pick them up with the problem they have at the moment. Yeah. So that's one example in Austria. I have observed. Another one is quite a funny one. I mean, I like it. It's called Drinking Against Thinking. So probably some of us can relate to that. Even if it's not from the creative industry, it's solved. The problem is solved with a very, very creative way from the creative industry. Basically, this is an Austrian-based digital marketing initiative only. And they just put together and collaborate with small businesses selling wines, because they are hit as well. You know, there is no businesses in gastronomy, nothing. So they can't sell in the shops. So, and some of us might have enjoyed the one or the other drink in lockdown for weeks and weeks. So they gathered small businesses. You can maybe see here, buy wine to help small businesses. And in the circle, it says buy and help. Such a great, not only a funny title, such a great initiative. They gathered a community of small businesses. They can all sell, they collaborate with them. I also mentioned it's a lot about collaboration. It's showing about solidarity. We need to show solidarity as well. It's all in one, and it's funny, it's creative. And as you can see, it doesn't need to be the most funky design in the world. We all get the message there, and they made it. Yeah, they are pretty much available everywhere globally. New York, Argentina, I don't know. I think everywhere where people drink alcohol, they are actually available. So very good example of how to react to a crisis, and with the very right values as well. I have two more, and then I'm done with my presentation. I want to share an example from Impact Hub Vienna. It's a co-working space, a chain. There's also an Impact Hub Belgrade, but I am with my company also a member of the Impact Hub Vienna, and Snezana shared that I'm also a mentor for them in digital marketing. So co-working space is also screwed. Right? You can't go there anymore to work. You can't sit close anymore. So what they did, once they reduced fees, membership fees right away, they had to. And the second thing they did, which I like a lot, and is actually a one-to-one example for solidarity and as a force for good, is they created a solidarity fund to assist their members affected by a coronavirus crisis. So what they do, actually, you can donate or you can buy vouchers of their members, most of them of the creative industry, by the way. These members can then apply for the fund. So what they do, they strengthen the community, very important in this time. They show solidarity. We are here for each other, which is very good. And it's a force for good, of course, as well. So very nice example as well that really helps and really makes an impact as well. And the last one, I'm moving away from Austria, and it's a bit the exotic one, but I wanted to share it because I couldn't believe when I saw it as well. Very much crisis related. There is an American farm, a business called Sweet Farm. They are now actually selling llama or sheep that they, not the animal, but they can join your Zoom meeting, yeah, or video call. I mean, how crazy is that? It's actually, it is going in a very funny way to people's focus, because we are all now on Zoom a lot. So to bring some fun into it, it's one of the most funny digital marketing campaigns I've seen during the crisis. The company itself, you see here at the website, is very sustainable, very innovative. They are a farm company. They do everything about fair trade of animals, that animals are not killed, healthy food, and so on. And then they come up with something like that. They do it in an incredibly creative way. As you see in the top bar of the website, sign up today for a go-to meeting. So they are good in digital marketing. That's why I hope it's okay that I shared this one as well. As the funny one, very nice with the community and impact driven and the focus of people's need as well. So these are the examples I wanted to share. I hope I was within the time frame, but that's it from me for now. Yeah, let's stay in touch. Please follow us if you want. And I'm looking forward to the questions now, and I'm giving back to Snezana. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Christina, for this great presentation and really inspiring and interesting examples in the end. And also thank you for your will to share the presentation with all the participants. So this is really great from your side. So we have some questions already. First of it is, do you think there will be a noticeable raise in awareness in environmental issues and the global warming, as we already see trends riding a wave of earth preservation? So this is the first question from the chat.
Yes, I would answer that question with a very clear yes. It was before already when I showed the examples for responsible storytelling that big companies already have to make a stand when it comes to planet Earth or to anything else. If you look at companies like Nestle, they all have to do something for their communities where they produce and so on. Airlines have to do a lot about CO2 emission. Every single company has to do something about their environmental contribution. So I believe so that it definitely will be a noticeable rise in the awareness of environmental issue. And global warming, I heard we just have to be careful that we don't forget about it again. I'm a bit, to be honest, my personal opinion, I'm a bit scared about that. That if we go through this crisis, that we forget about it again. But as it stands at the moment, big businesses anyways, but for sure also SMEs and small businesses should make a stand, because even if it's not crisis related anymore, you have also to understand your customers, your next gen is getting younger and younger. Yeah, they are all online, so they all have access to the information they want, and they all become more aware. So they also want to shop with a responsible awareness as well. And for that, you need to, as a business, you need to make a stand to that as well. So I answered the question a little bit business related. I hope it's okay, but that's my cat. I'm very sorry. He's a bit of a Zoom crusher. Sorry. So a clear yes to that question.
Okay, so another question is, this should be applied also on B2B oriented businesses, but as we are all in the same problem, do you have any advice how to approach another businesses that might face the sustainability issues?
Mm-hmm. I have the chat open, so let me please read through the question again, if that's okay. So
yeah, do you want me to read it again?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes. So this should be applied also on B2B oriented business, but as we are all in the same problem, do you have any advice how to approach another businesses that might face the sustainability issues?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the answer to if it applies to B2B, definitely. Why? In my opinion, because every B2B business has eventually an end user and a customer, and this customer will care about that. So I think fashion industry is a very good example for producing clothes and so on, that, for example, responsible production or responsible delivery in the fashion industry becomes more and more important. So it will be across everywhere. So I personally believe B2B is also very important. B2C might be more urgent, yeah, in the implementation of it, but definitely time for B2B as well. For the second part of the question, to be honest, I have a bit of a problem to answer that, because I probably would need some more details of what sustainability issue. But I will try to answer it anyway shortly. Look what you can do. Look at what you do as a brand. Yeah, what can you do along your process as well in terms of responsibility? or sustainability? Is there something along your production process you can do? Is there something you can support your co-creators supply chain? Yeah, for example, as well. Is there something you can improve? Do that as a step one, to really look, because this is where the trend is going with responsible businesses as well, to really look at your own process, not to just join a charity. Yeah, it's good and it's important, please don't get me wrong, to have something with Red Cross or something like that, very important, but the trend goes to actually look at your own process, at your own supply chain, at your own production chain, what you can do there. And if you know, I would do as step number one, if you know the sustainability issue of your potential client, B2B, look if you can offer that. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a tricky one, because the thing with responsibility in businesses and responsible businesses is that everyone has to look into their own home, so to say. So if you don't offer to actually, for example, social innovation, that you go to a client and say, okay, I look at your processes and I help you with your sustainability issue, it's very difficult to help. And also it's also with impact measurement, it's, as I said, it's getting quite complex at the moment. It really needs expertise to do so. So I get a thanks already. So social innovation, or just trying to focus on yourself.
Yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. I already received the thanks for the question. And next question is, how is this situation impacting you and your work? And are your future plans mainly connected with this crisis and pandemic?
Yeah, very good question. It's impacting me as well. You could think that actually, I mean, I'm focusing on responsible communication and online marketing and digital marketing, which becomes more important. But that's why I also wanted to talk about the crisis a little bit. People are scared, and the truth is we lost clients. I lost clients. We as an agency, we lost clients simply because businesses suddenly face other issues, lose clients, are threatened to close their companies. So really, really bad stuff. And as a result, we lost clients as well. So of course it's impacting us. It's not easy. I can share what we do. We are lucky enough that we kept the majority of our clients. I also have to say that we are lucky enough to do that. So the time available of the other clients that we lost, I'm actually using to try to collaborate and share. Also on a voluntary basis, like for webinars like this. Because I think that's the time, and as I said, it's what we stand for as well. And I think we have to not only talk about it, but also do it. So that's one thing. My future plans, no. My future plans are not mainly connected to the crisis and the pandemic. I refuse to do that. However, I'm very open to observe if there will be a so-called new normal. Yeah, I think that's important to observe and be realistic about it. One thing we do is we have a project we are working as well, a product actually, which is called the Goodbies Box, which is what I'm sharing with you here more in detail, actually planned as a physical box that helps startups and young people, but also entrepreneurs and SMEs to do responsible business in a simple way. So what we offer as services, we wanted to simplify in a box so it's accessible to everyone. And we were very far in the process of actually doing a physical box, and we're moving everything online now. So that's an action we had to do. We had to change our plans, and that's what we are focusing now, because we also feel like it's more important than ever to do responsible business.
Okay, yeah, definitely. And there is another question. Is there a way to avoid sounding disingenuous when talking about current crisis as a business, both big and small to medium? So communicate through concern instead of an effort to exploit the situation.
Mm-hmm. Difficult. I will have to answer that with a very simple answer. I feel if you're transparent and honest, that's the best way you can go. Because the question is a really good one, because we are all struggling with it. You know, we all don't know how should we put it. Is it crossing the line? Do we sound weird now? Are we predicting too much? But the truth is, no one of us has the answer at this point. And I can only share how I do it. And I feel transparency and honesty is the best way to go. Yeah. And looking at your target group. Yeah. To also try to understand how they are, what kind of tone of voice, what brand voice do they need at this point. So maybe also try to understand who are you talking to, and try to adapt to that. That would be actually my tip. So, but basically, maybe if I can just add that, maybe, also before the crisis, one of the biggest trends for 2019 and 2020 was to actually gain back trust on social media. So it's a lot about being very honest, transparent, and so on anyway, because we are all spammed. Yeah, and that doesn't get better. So this is a general trend in digital marketing anyway. So that, and looking very closely at the target persona to understand what tone of voice they might need.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. And I think that this is the important thing, no matter what we are doing, not just for the digital marketing, but in any kind of job, to be like honest and transparent in the way we are working. So this is really great. And maybe for the end, just a couple of advices for the young people who would like to work in the field of digital marketing, or maybe just start to work in this field. What would be your advices for them?
I wish there would be one or two clear advices, but focus on, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself now, if you want to work in the field, keep yourself updated with trends, of course, but don't forget to look at the target personas. This is, and I've been saying that quite a lot, but I can only repeat it, this is the trend. We have to go to our target personas because there is too much in the online world that they come to us. So if you want to work in digital marketing, have that in mind. If you get a chance, start working, look at the target personas as well as trends. Be creative. It's really, really good to just try and fail. You know, I heard once a speaker, I can't remember where it was, but they basically said, it was a really big company, and they said, we invest a huge amount of money in digital marketing. And we know 50% of it works, but we don't know which 50%. And that's unfortunately the truth with digital marketing. So as cheesy as it might sound, go for it, look at your target persona. Don't be ashamed to fail. I failed so many times. It's important. Be creative, try it, keep yourself up to trends, but do not only rely on them. I hope that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, really, for your time, for the great presentation, impact, and all the advices and examples you shared with us today. And also thanks to all of you who were participating today in this webinar. So we are sure that you enjoyed, and we are really looking forward to this presentation. So from tomorrow, you will have the information about the next webinar on the social media channels of Young Ambassadors. And I'm sure that all these things that we heard today from you, we can use in our communication on our social media network. So thank you very much. So just stay safe for all of you and stay creative, and looking forward to see you all online and offline very soon. So thank you very much, and thank you, Christina.
Thank you as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Stay safe.
Yes, thank you.